Well, Andrew, episode 7 of the Free Baseball Pod. It's been a little bit since we uploaded the last one. Andrew and I, we're busy guys, college students. We're just trying to enjoy the summer, do a lot of work, a lot of other things. But right now, we're here back on the Free Baseball Pod. As I said, the 7th episode. This is so awesome. We've come such a long way. And all of you guys, the viewers, you've given us such great support and love along this journey, and we're going to just keep going as this season of 2022 continues. And Andrew, it's been a great one so far, especially for our Yankees, best team in the American League, and also the best team in baseball. But before we get into everything that we're about to unpack for this 7th episode, Andrew, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Just really enjoying this baseball season so far. Haven't been able to do a ton of recaps on this podcast yet, unfortunately, but first 2 months, they've been great. A lot of great moments so far this season, including our longest home run of the season today, Jesus Sanchez.
496 feet. That was a bomb.
That was kind of far.
Yeah, kind of far. Just a little bit.
Maybe.
Nothing crazy. But yeah, it's been Andrew and I have definitely been pretty busy. We would like to do more, but we're working with the time that we have, and we just appreciate all the support that you guys give in all of the work that we pour into making the Free Baseball Pod the Free Baseball Pod. So in this episode, it's going to be a little different. There's going to be a little surprise towards the end, but we're going to start with the Joc Pederson, Tommy Pham little altercation, what was going on there. Andrew and I will break that down, and then we'll talk about Josh Donaldson and Tim Anderson's little controversy from a couple weeks ago, and also from a couple weeks ago, the Pirates, they won 1-0 after recording no hits versus the Reds. Very bizarre. Hasn't happened in over 10 years. Very crazy. And then we're going to talk about our team, the Yankees, a little bit, not because they're our team, but because they are the best team in baseball right now, record-wise. I know Andrew and I, we've had this debate off the show where the Dodgers may be the best team in baseball on paper, on everything else, but record-wise, the Yankees are the best team there is in Major League Baseball. And to finish it off, this happened a little while ago, but there is a cool anecdote attached to it, and that was Albert Pujols' pitching debut. That was a pretty cool thing in what may be Albert Pujols' last season as a professional baseball player. That'll be a weird Major League Baseball to watch, as Pujols has played every season that we've seen, Andrew. It's going to be weird to watch him go. But here on the 7th episode of the Free Baseball Pod, for the first time, we will have a guest, and it's one of my good buddies from Fordham University, a WFUV guy. He does great work over there. Him and I, we have worked on basketball, baseball, just a whole bunch of podcasts together on WFUV's longest-running sports call-in show in New York, One-on-One. We've worked a whole bunch together, and that's my good friend Danny Scott. He will come in for the last segment where we will talk about the NL West, and then we will do a new segment which will be a draft. Andrew, Danny, and I will be drafting 4 position players and 1 pitcher containing of a player pool of players 25 and under. It'll be very fun to watch. And in the comment section of this video and on our Twitter, we want you guys to vote who had the better 5-man roster when it's all said and done. But Andrew, let's get right into it, and let's talk about this Tommy Pham, Joc Pederson incident. So I know it was over fantasy football. It's something that was said in a group chat. Why don't you unpack it a little bit for the viewers?
Yeah, so Tommy Pham, not the nicest guy, as we know, not the most calm on the field. We've seen him, obviously, the little fight scuffle he had with Luke Voigt earlier this year. Obviously, he was stabbed in a bar in the 2020 offseason. That was not great. So before the game on Thursday, Reds Giants, Tommy Pham sees Joc Pederson in the outfield. He decides to go up to him, just to, collapse him. Well, everybody's like, what is this for? So apparently he was mad about a fantasy football group chat last season, or a couple years ago. And he just goes up and slaps him. And so this is what Pederson had to say about it after the game. He says, "We're in a fantasy league together. I put a player on the injured reserve. They listed out, add another player. There was a text message in the group saying I was cheating because I was dashing players on my bench. I looked up the rules and sent a screenshot of the rules, how it says when a player is ruled out, you're allowed to put him on the IR. That's all I was doing. It just so happened I had a player, Jeff Wilson, that was out, and he had him on the IR. I said, you literally have the same thing on your team, on your bench. I guess he was in 2 leagues, and one of them Wilson was on IR, and one of them he wasn't. So maybe that was confusion. In the ESPN league we were in, it was listed as out. It feels similar to what it is. Basically, that was all of it. Not much more to it. So this got Pham so mad. And also Pederson also sent a GIF in the group chat of, a little poking fun at the Padres. Nothing serious. If you've seen it, it's nothing disrespectful as Pham described it. So Pham just received a 3-game suspension, scratched from lineup that day. And pretty mind-boggling decision by Pham just to, never met Joc in real life before, just goes up and slaps him. Well, your thoughts?
Andrew, I was kind of like blown away, but at the same time I wasn't, because Tommy Pham has been in some run-ins over the last couple seasons, and it's just it was bizarre though. It just went right up to him and slapped him right in the face, and he said that he explicit with his money. How much money are you putting on fantasy football for you to go into the outfield and go out of your way during batting practice to slap an opposing player over fantasy football? I really need to know how much money you're putting on fantasy football for that to happen while you're at work. It's just crazy to me, Andrew. I don't know. Am I surprised that this is something that Tommy Pham did? Absolutely not. He wanted to start beef with Luke Voit over a slide in April. He said that there was a gym, a boxing ring that he could bring Luke Voit to and box him. Just ridiculous. Just ridiculous over a slide. Tommy Pham, it's just, I don't know what's going on. It was so out of pocket. It was so unnecessary. Joc handled it as Joc does. He's just kind of a beast. Love Joc Pederson, and just kind of brushing off the shoulders, like, excuse me, brushing off the shoulders, nothing too crazy. Just slapped me in the face over something stupid, and then we move on. Tommy Pham, like you said, Andrew, he'll take 3 games off, scratch from the lineup that day as well. It's a weird thing to happen in baseball.
I don't
weird.
Yeah, I didn't get it. Like, the funniest part about it, all of it is Tommy Pham, he's on the Reds now. This happened when he was on the Padres. It's not.
Yeah,
you're not even your own team anymore.
Yeah, he said something disrespectful about the Padres. It's just like,
you're not on the Padres.
They don't employ you anymore. Like, what are you doing, man? But whatever. That was really weird. But
one of the weirdest things I've seen.
Yeah, it's part of baseball. But we're gonna shift to another controversy, and this is a little more deeper than that incident between Joc Pederson and Tommy Pham. This one dealt with Josh Donaldson and Tim Anderson. This stemmed from a series back a few weeks ago when the Yankees were in Chicago. Josh Donaldson, he tagged Tim Anderson very hard on a snap throw down to third base. Tim Anderson took exception to that. And now the Yankees and White Sox are having a little bit of beef whenever they see each other now. So when the White Sox came to New York the following week, Josh Donaldson and Tim Anderson went at it again. And the second time that Josh Donaldson came to the plate, Yasmani Grandal had some words to say to Josh Donaldson, and then the benches cleared, and it just became a pretty ugly scene. So that Josh Donaldson referred to Tim Anderson as Jackie. That is the name that he gave Tim Anderson, and this stems from something that Tim Anderson said back in 2019, where he said, "I kind of feel like today's Jackie Robinson." Donaldson admitted to his mistake, saying that, it wasn't the best thing to say, or he didn't say that, but he admitted that it was probably not the best thing to say, especially with the tensions and the bad blood that was brewing over the last week or so after the teams met the first time. And this is not the first time that Josh Donaldson has been a part of a racial slur incident in an interaction with Brad Keller in 2019 that involved racial slurs. But Andrew, I have to ask, what do you think about this situation? I have my thoughts on it, but I want to start with you. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I think obviously Donaldson, Anderson, 2 very passionate players that we've seen in the past. Donaldson
show a lot of emotion.
Tim Anderson, a very vocal player. And yeah, it definitely wasn't the right thing to say, but I think at the end of the day, I don't think his intents were very, trying to be racist. I think he said he was kind of just joking around. Maybe he shouldn't have called him Jackie, but at the end of the day, I think him and Anderson have somewhat of a friendly relationship that I wouldn't call him a racist for it. And I wouldn't call Anderson soft too.
Yeah, personally, Andrew, I would 100% agree with you. That's actually exactly what I was thinking. I wouldn't by any means say that Tim Anderson is soft at all, but I do not think that Josh Donaldson is a racist. I know some of the White Sox teammates, including Liam Hendriks, have taken exception to the comments that Josh Donaldson made in his post-game interview when he was asked about the situation. And personally, I disagree with him and their manager, Tony La Russa. I do not find him to be a racist. It appeared that they had a little joke there. And was it the right thing to say? Absolutely not. You have to do a little better of assessing the situation and knowing when that joke is acceptable. There was still bad blood between the two. Tim Anderson clearly did not like that tag that Donaldson put on him in Chicago, and it spilled over into the series when the White Sox came to New York. Just not good timing to break out inside jokes. And as we saw, it escalated pretty quickly. Donaldson, he got suspended for a game, and then he got COVID, and now he's on the IL with shoulder inflammation. So just really not a good week for Josh Donaldson. But as Yankee fans, hopefully he'll be back soon and the situation blows over. But Andrew, I agree. Tim Anderson is definitely not soft, and Josh Donaldson is not a racist by any means. It was just a little rift going on between two players in baseball. It'll pass eventually. But it'll move us on to the next piece of news out of Major League Baseball, and this came on May 15th. The Pirates won 1-0 after recording no hits versus the Cincinnati Reds. Andrew, let's get into this. This was crazy.
Yeah, so the Pirates faced off the Reds. Hunter Greene was pitched pretty well. 9 strikeouts, 7 1/3. They did take him out. Art Warren got 2 more outs and 9 pitches. But he did walk 5 batters, which, so it wasn't the most dominant performance. Ke'Bryan Hayes had an RBI ground out in the 8th inning. It was 0-0 till then. And it's just really the most, Pirates-Reds thing I can think of. Although the Reds have been very good, and ever since starting 2-20, whatever it was, which is crazy. I saw the stat, they were 13-8 in their past 21, which is the 3rd best record in baseball. But yeah, I mean, just seeing the Reds, it's a very Reds thing to do.
Definitely a very Reds thing to do. I genuinely feel for Hunter Greene. Remember when he got drafted? He was a two-way guy when he got drafted. He played shortstop and he was a pitcher. He hit bombs and he threw 100 miles an hour. Just really fun to watch. Now he's just a pitcher. Still throws gas and he's still a very good pitcher. He walked 5 guys, still working with a little bit of command issues, but he's young. He's 21 years old, 22 years old. He'll get there. Great pitcher for the Reds to have moving forward. He had 9 strikeouts in 7 1/3 innings, and he threw 118 pitches at his age in this point in the season, and you couldn't get 1 hit. You couldn't score 1 run. You just couldn't win this game. I just don't understand. I don't understand at all. I just don't get it. Hunter Greene, he pitched his rear end off. Same with the rest of the Reds. The Reds pitching rotation, I just don't understand. But as you said, Andrew, since then, the Reds have played much better baseball. And I'm not going to say that they've been exciting to watch, but they definitely haven't been as miserable as they were 2 weeks ago. And first time since 2008, when the Dodgers beat the Angels in this same situation, where no hits were recorded for the winning team. Just a bizarre thing to happen in baseball, but it's interesting. Definitely adds to the interesting things that happened over the last couple weeks in baseball for sure. But
and it's crazy how the Reds, I remember seeing a stat beginning of the season for the first 25 games. The Reds were one of the worst pitching stats of all time. I think they had around a 6 ERA every single game. They were giving up, 10 runs, and to go a whole game without allowing a hit, and then you still lose.
Yeah, it's just bad luck. Not good. Not good. But definitely a bizarre thing to happen. That's why we're talking about it. And as we said, the Reds have definitely played much better than what they showed in this game on the 15th. But let's talk about a little better baseball, Andrew. Why don't we? Let's talk about our New York Yankees. Best team in baseball. Great pitching. offense has been kind of lackluster the last few games, but it's been good enough. It's been good enough. They have the best record in all of baseball. They're 4.5 games ahead of the second place team, Tampa Bay Rays. And in May, that is a very good lead to have. Andrew, why don't you get into what you like about the Yankees so far this season?
What is there not to like about the Yankees, honestly? The biggest question mark going into the season was how good is the offense going to be? And then how good is the starting rotation going to be? Offense did start off very bad, but since then, since their slow start, whatever it was, first 10 games, they've been incredible. Aaron Judge, this dude, he seems to hit home run almost every other game.
18 man.
18 now, by far the most in the league. I think second is 14's Mookie Betts. 1.113 OPS. Anthony Rizzo has been incredible also. 11 homers. Stanton on the IL right now, but he's tearing the cover off the ball. Top of the charts for all the StatCast metrics. 150 OPS plus. DJ Glaber have been crazy resurgences. And then onto the pitching staff. Garrett Cole, obviously 36 million a year guy. Hasn't been the best on this rotation. Probably not even the second or third best.
It hasn't been bad at all, though. It hasn't been bad at all. He's been pretty good.
Hasn't been bad. 3.12 ERA. He's been pretty good. But Nestor Cortez, man, this dude, every time he steps on the mound, you're just like, yeah, this guy was a 6 ERA, 5.6 ERA reliever in 2019. And now to have the lowest ERA in the American League at 1.7.
As a starter.
10 Ks per 9, 2 walks per 9. Might be the Cy Young leader right now. Right now, he'd probably start the All-Star game, which is crazy to think about.
I'd put him behind Verlander right now, but it's very close. It's very close. After
Verlander's last start, giving up 6 runs, I don't really know.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah, and then Jameson Taion, obviously, he's been great, but very under the radar, too. 2.47 ERA. Severino really looks like he hasn't even skipped a beat ever since he came back. It's really like his first time consistently pitching since 2018.
Yeah, missed two complete seasons. Unbelievable.
More than that, 2019, 2020, most of 2021.
Yeah, you're right, actually.
Pretty much 3 years. 2018, obviously, wasn't even the same pitcher the second half of the year. So, and then the bullpen. The bullpen's been – Aroldis Chapman has had his little struggles lately, and now he's hurt. But Clay Holmes, man, this dude, 22 straight scoreless innings, 24 innings. I don't even know how the Yankees just found this. I don't know how Cashman keeps doing it with these hidden gems. This dude is a reliever of the year, and nobody knew who this guy was at all in July last year.
No, nobody did. I didn't even know who he was. I knew more of the guy that the Yankees traded him for than I knew of him. And he had more major league experience than the guy that they traded to the Pirates for him. That's just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Overall, the Yankees 23-14, very comfortable 5.5 game lead here, as we said.
33 and 14.
33, my bad. 33-14. Very comfortable 5.5 game lead, as we sit here at the end of May. And we talked about them, obviously, in our AL preview. I didn't have the highest expectations. I said they're probably a third or fourth place team. I didn't believe in the offense a ton. Starting rotation, obviously, had a little bit of question marks that here and there. Garrett Cole, we obviously knew was going to be solid. We probably thought he was going to be better than he's doing right now. But overall, this team has, blown me away. But, Will, what would you say is the biggest need?
The biggest need, I'm so happy you asked me that question. Before I answer it, I just want to say I had higher hopes than you did, but I didn't think they were going to be this good. I thought they were going to be good. I thought they were going to be better than most people thought, but I didn't think they were going to be this good. They've been absolutely amazing. And the one area, honestly, Mendez, I'm going to go with two. I'm going to go with two things. One, a little more need than the other, just because in the second area that I'm going to talk about, there's guys that are injured and they're going to come back. But the biggest need for this team is a consistent left fielder or just outfielder in general. Aaron Hicks, Joey Gallo, not getting it done. They are just not getting it done. in that lineup, and it hurts them. It hurts them. At least Gallo makes it up to the defense. But Aaron Hicks, we went to a game when they played Toronto, and he hit a home run. And you were like, just wait for it, man. I'm banking on Aaron Hicks. And I believed you because he played so well. And I went on one-on-one, the show at WFUV, and I talked about it a little bit. And I said what Aaron Hicks needs to do is he needs to be in the leadoff spot because he walks a lot and he gets on base. And a lot of the guys that the Yankees had behind him were hitting really well and driving in runs. Aaron Boone started doing that, and the Yankees scored a little more runs. Now, Hicks isn't doing anything. He's not walking as much as he usually does. He's not hitting at all.
Not fielding.
Thank you. I was just about to say that.
Fly balls.
I went to the game against Baltimore where Garrett Cole started, Adley Rutschman's first game in Yankee Stadium, and somebody hit a double down the line. I don't remember who it was. It may have been Trey Mancini, but Aaron Hicks just jogged his way to the ball. It was going to be a double regardless, but I don't know if you could have taken any longer to get a ball in. It's just, it's unbelievable. I don't know what he's doing out there.
Yeah,
it's just, he is a liability on both sides of the ball. At least on one side, you could be good and you could still have a job, but you're a liability on both sides of the ball. That's just not going to cut it anywhere.
Yeah, I've been a huge Aaron Hicks believer for a while, but I just have to say at this point, the guy is one of the worst UZRs, which you don't know. It's a stat measuring, it's a defensive stat, advanced stat. He's one of the worst UCRs for center fielders. When you're doing that and you have under 600 OPS and don't have as good of an arm, fielding, like he doesn't even have as good of an eye as he used to anymore. He's chasing more pitches.
It's terrible.
I don't know, man. I think it's time for Hicks to go.
The Yankees need a bat out there in left field. I think they could sacrifice the defense because Judge, he's been an incredible center fielder. Giancarlo, I'm not going to call him incredible, but he is a lot better of a defender than people give him credit for when he is out there, when he's healthy. The Yankees have really been missing his bat over this last series. They scored 7 games in the first game of that. They scored 7 runs in the first game of that Tampa series, but they couldn't really get anything going. The rest of the series, they really missed Giancarlo. He was swinging a hot stick before he went on the injured list, but I think he'll be back in no time. But I definitely think getting a bat in left field would be good. I've heard a lot of people talking about Juan Soto. Don't think it's unrealistic, but at the same time, I think it's a little crazy. So take it what you will with that. Not unrealistic, but still kind of crazy. You're going to have to give up a whole lot to get Juan Soto right now. Might as well just wait until he's a free agent. But honestly, getting Juan Soto is such an off-season kind of thing. Because if you get Juan Soto, you're probably not going to keep Aaron Judge. No way you're going to keep both of them. There's just no way. I mean, unless you're going to pay Juan Soto, Giancarlo, Garrett Cole, Aaron Judge, and then the rest is just going to be filled with whatever. You're already paying DJ LeMahieu. He doesn't have a contract like Cole, Stanton, and Judge, but he's still getting paid a decent amount of money. You're going to be paying Anthony Rizzo $16 million a year. It's all going to depend on what Hal Steinbrenner decides to spend on. We'll just have to wait and see. I don't really have any options in my head right now with who they can go with. I definitely do not want Brett Gardner back out there.
Andrew
Benintendi. Cool to have him back. I like that. Benintendi is a very solid bat. He's also a pretty decent defender, but is that someone the Royals would be willing to part ways with? I don't know, because he's not that old. He's not that young, but he's not that old. I do like that though. That's a good one to just blurt out there.
I think it's a decent option. Just keep in mind when the deadline rolls around.
I've always been a big Andrew Benintendi guy. I was actually so happy he got traded from the Red Sox. It was a little bittersweet because we don't get to see him you don't get to see him play as much. Same with Mookie Betts, but it's a lot easier to root for him when he's not on the Red Sox. Same exact deal with Mookie Betts. The 2018 team that won the World Series, I had a lot of guys I really liked watching, and it's kind of tough to root for them when they're killing the Yankees, especially when they play for the Red Sox. But Andrew Benintendi, he'd be a solid fit in left field for the Yankees. Another area I'd like for them to address, and not severely, because as I said before, I got into what I think the Yankees need, is the bullpen. I think they can add another arm, just one. They don't need to go crazy. You're going to get Chapman back. You're going to get Loaizaga back, but you're not going to get Chad Green back. You're going to miss those innings are going to be gone now. You could probably get somebody. You don't have, like I said, you don't have to go so crazy on getting a big lockdown bullpen guy, because Clay Holmes has been that big lockdown bullpen guy. Loizaga hasn't been the same as he was last year, but he's still not terrible. A lot of the guys in the bullpen, they've been very good. Give me one more arm, and maybe if you're really feeling it too, get another starting pitcher, because who knows what you're going to get out of that starting rotation in August. They're pitching really well right now, but who knows how they're going to be feeling. And this team could benefit from having a 6-man rotation down the line if they continue to win and continue to pile on those games ahead of all the teams in the AL East. A 6-man rotation may not be the worst option to give your 5 guys rest, because all 5 of them have been amazing. And I'm very happy you mentioned how under the radar Jameson Taion has been. I mentioned that on WFUV's Baseball Podcast, Nosebleeds, the latest edition. I was saying how Jameson Taion has been the most underrated. We talk about Nestor Cortez being underrated, but I'm going to be honest, he's not underrated anymore. You're not underrated if you have the lowest ERA in all of baseball. His salary may say that he's underrated, but he's been very consistent in showing that, hey, he's pretty legit. But Jameson Taion, he's come out here in at least the last 3 starts all season, he's been good. But the last 2 or 3 starts, he's really come out here and he's balled out. He pitched phenomenally against the White Sox. He pitched well against the Rays. He's just been really, really sharp. And I'm very, very happy that he's found his groove with the Yankees.
Yeah, well, I think you make a good point about, filling left field. I think that's definitely could be an area of need. But I do think that Joey Gallo will pick it up at some point. I think that will fill our need. Yeah, Aaron Hicks definitely issue there. We'll find something. We have depth in the organization, but I really think that our biggest need right now is, I think we need, just like you said, get another starting pitcher. I know that was probably third below bullpen and left fielder, but if you look at our rotation right now, yeah, it's good, but I don't really see much depth. Luis Gil's out for the year. All our guys in the minors don't really have a ton of experience. I think the odds are one of these guys, the sad reality is one of these guys are probably going to go down, probably won't be ready for the playoffs, and we're going to need another starting pitcher. Martine Fred is one guy I've kept my eye on. There's obviously going to be more options as we see which teams are good, which teams are not. But I think getting another starting pitcher, another scary guy you want in the playoffs behind Cole and Nestor and Sevy. That's to make this team serious.
I don't think, Andrew, you have to go crazy. I think Martin Perez is a solid option for this team. In recent years, they've had to get a much bigger level of an arm to push them through the playoffs. Remember, 2017, they had to get Sonny Gray. That was a bigger level arm. And I don't think this rotation is going to need that, but they're going to need a guy, especially, I'm so happy you mentioned Luis Gil as well, not being able to be that 6th man. That's going to hurt them. That's going to hurt them a lot. And nobody realizes that yet. This starting rotations are not going to be this good for an entire season. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. And I hate to say it, he was very good. I just don't expect this to happen again. JP Sears, you can't expect JP Sears to be as sharp as he was against the White Sox as a 6th man. No knock on JP Sears at all. I'm just saying you're going to need a 6th guy. But for the Yankees, as we were saying, Andrew, best team in baseball. For both of us, we hope that they continue to keep rolling and keep that nice big lead, or solid lead, not huge, but a solid lead in the American League East, and just keep playing good baseball. But now we're going to move on to our last segment with just me and Andrew before Danny hops on the pod. And we're going to talk about, really briefly, Albert Pujols' pitching debut. Andrew, get into Mr. Pujols' debut on the bump.
Yeah, so Pujols, very electric debut. Got to put him in a blowout game. I believe the Cardinals were actually leading in this game. So it's, very rare when team kind of a little bit disrespectful, you could say, to put in a position player when you're leading. Usually that's something you do when you're down, save bullpen. But yeah, 1 inning pitched. Was looking pretty good at the start, then gave a couple homers, 4 earned runs, 1 walk. Mile per hour range from about 46.6, 96 to 69 miles, not 96, 69 miles an hour, 19 fastballs, 8 curveballs. Second player ever to hit 600 homers and pitch in their career. The other was obviously Babe Ruth. So, fun little Sunday night baseball moment about Pujols.
Yeah, that was the little anecdote I was talking about in the intro. Second player ever to hit 600 plus home runs and pitch in their career, as you said, Andrew, the other player being the Bambino, Babe Ruth. But we know Babe Ruth was a much better pitcher than Albert Pujols was. But still, pretty cool. Albert Pujols, he's approaching some milestones. I don't know if he's going to get it if this is his last season. 17 home runs away from becoming just the fourth player in Major League history to hit 700 home runs. Currently sits fifth all-time on the home run leaderboard. And before we get Danny in here, Andrew, do you think Albert Pujols will reach 700 home runs?
That's a tough question because I think this will be his last season, and he's 26 away?
He's 17 away.
Oh, 17.
Yep.
Oh, I don't know. It's close. I think it'll come down to, if I had to put money on it, I would say no. I don't think he's going to get 17.
I'm going to say no as well. I don't think he's going to finish with more than A-Rod. I think he stays at 5. A-Rod's got 696. I don't think he finishes more than A-Rod, to be honest with you. If this is officially his last season, I don't think he passes A-Rod. If it's not, then I think he gets to 700. But does he have enough left in the tank? I don't know.
Yeah, no.
We'll just have to wait and see.
Plays another year, he'll get it. Plays this year, no. I could see it if you face a lot of lefties because, he's a very good hitter.
He crushes lefties. He was phenomenal against lefties when he played for the Dodgers. He's always been very good against lefties. But last year at his age, he was very good against lefties. So we'll just have to wait and see, Andrew. But we're going to take a short break, and we're going to get Danny Scott, the one and only from way out in Northern California. We're going to get him on the podcast. We're going to talk a little bit about the National League West and all the crazy things that are going out there. And then we will get into the first ever draft here on the Free Baseball Pod. So stay tuned and hang in there with us. So staying on the NL West theme, we're going to bring in a very special guest, the first ever guest on the Free Baseball Pod, my good friend, Danny Scott from Fordham University. Danny, why don't you tell the viewers a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, what's going on, guys? My name is Danny Scott. I am going to be a senior now at Fordham. I work at the radio station WFUV with Will. I'm from California, huge baseball fan. Go Giants. From Northern California, and I also still play a little bit of baseball. I play on the club baseball team, and we just made it to the club baseball World Series this year. So still sticking with everything and glad to be on here.
Awesome, Dan. We really appreciate you coming on and taking the time to spend with us. It's not that Andrew and I couldn't talk some NL West, but we needed a guy who watches the NL West day in and day out like yourself. And I know you got a lot of baseball knowledge, especially on those Giants. So I want to start it in a more general sense here, guys. This division, it's been filled with a lot of surprises so far this season. What has been the biggest surprise so far early on in 2022?
Yeah, I just think the success of the division as a whole. I mean, pretty much every team is right around 500. Obviously, the Dodgers, Padres, and Giants are all right there in contention for a World Series title. The Giants looking a little more sloppy this year than they were last year, winning 107 games. They're not really on that same pace, but they're still very much in line for a wild card spot at the quarter point of this season. But, the Diamondbacks, I think they're 1 game below 500. The Rockies, 2 games below 500. The division as a whole, I think, is just the toughest division in baseball, and I think that's the most surprising to me.
Yeah, no, I definitely have to go with the biggest surprise has by far been the Diamondbacks because last year they were like the worst team in the league, won 50-something games. And then this year, being what I think they're above 500 around that mark, for them to be better than the White Sox or at least in the Braves, that is crazy. Merrill Kelly, Mad Bum, Zach Count, they've been phenomenal. That has shocked me.
Yeah, lots of surprises coming out of this division. I got to stick with the Diamondbacks. I would give a little love to the Rockies, but both teams, both teams definitely exceeding expectations so far, as you said, Danny, with the quarter of the season pretty much wrapped up. But I got to give it to the Diamondbacks. Great work over there so far as this season progresses. But so, Danny, I want to turn to your guys now. Losers of their last four straight, Danny. As a Giants fan, is there some kind of level of concern right now as the Dodgers and Padres duke it out for first and the Giants? They're just sitting in third place right now, just waiting for something to get going.
I think if you're looking at it from last year's standpoint, obviously there's a little concern being the best team in baseball, but from a baseball point of view, not really. This team is still very much in line to make the playoffs, and it's all about getting to that dance because with how weird baseball is, anything can happen once you get to October. I mean, the Giants won 2 of their 3 World Series in the early 2010s being a wild card team. So I'm like, obviously there's a little concern going from how great we were last year to where we are this year. But in the broader scheme of things, I'm not super worried until we drop below 500.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's a ton of concern for the Giants. I mean, they're only 5.5 back. It's so early. Like, they're probably not going to win the division. Let's be realistic here. Like, last year, it wasn't a fluke. Like, the team was really good, but the Dodgers this year, they had Freddie Freeman, and just look at their pitching. It's one of the best of all time. But there's really not much reason to be concerned. I think the Giants will probably sneak in close.
I can definitely see the Giants getting in there as well. I will say this. I miss Buster Posey, and I bet the Giants do too. Joey Bart, though, however, he's done a pretty solid job behind the dish coming in, trying to fill in some pretty big shoes, Dan.
I mean, yeah, it's hard to replace a generational player like Buster Posey. He's done okay. He's still kind of that like 4A type of guy though, where he's too good for AAA, not good enough for the majors. He's done decent defensively, but only batting 162, only 4 home runs. Still young, still got time to develop. But I see signs of greatness every once in a while from him where you're like, okay, this guy's going to be something special.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, always been a big Joey Bart guy. Really hope he does start to get it going a little bit and really get into that role as the everyday catcher. But we talked about the Diamondbacks pitching earlier in the show, Andrew, and I want to talk a little bit about the trade deadline because there are specifically 2 teams in the Rockies and the Diamondbacks. I don't really see either of them being contenders down the line, but they have pieces that could be shipped off and maybe in return get something for the foreseeable future. I'll start with the Diamondbacks here, though. Do you see Arizona shipping off maybe one, possibly even more than one of those arms that have just shown greatness so far, a quarter of the way through the season? Do you see them potentially trading 1 or 2 of those pieces and to bulk up that farm system a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably see Merrill Kelly probably getting traded. Mad Bum has a big contract, so it's gonna be kind of hard to move him. Zach Gallen's a younger guy, so it's like probably want him for the future. But I think Merrill Kelly he'll get dealt.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Another name, not a pitcher, but I think Ketel Marte, his time in Arizona is probably wrapping up here pretty soon. He's kind of struggling this year, so a team like the Yankees may be able to swoop him in for cheap, get some good depth, maybe another starting caliber outfielder for him or second baseman, wherever you need to play him. But I could see Kelly on the move. I think, like Andrew said, Mad Bum's contract is too big to trade, and with how old he is, you're going to have to find a team that's willing to take on a big contract. And I don't know if there's many contenders out there that have much caps though saved up right now.
I was on the Ketel Marte train last year, but this year the Diamondbacks, they kind of surprised everybody. They extended Ketel for 5 years, something like that. I wouldn't be shocked if in that extension he does get moved, but right now I think he stays put. Diamondbacks have a lot to work with, but Merrill Kelly, as both of you said, definitely a guy that's name has been in trade rumors throughout recent years. Maybe this year is the year that the Diamondbacks can finally get the most ROI out of Merrill Kelly. We'll just have to wait and see. But staying on the deadline theme, I don't really see the Rockies contending in the long run as well, like I just said, does CJ Cron get moved as well at the deadline? What do you guys think about that?
I think it's tough with the Rockies because they go out in this past offseason, make a big splash, sign Chris Bryant. So obviously, you know, they let Trevor Story walk, and maybe a good decision by them considering how he's been playing. But I think this team thinks they're not far off from competing in this division. So I'm not sure if they're a team that's going to be looking to trade pieces. I'm sure I would think right now where they're sitting as far as placement in the National League as a whole, they may be just content with keeping their guys, maybe trying to make a couple more signings in this upcoming offseason.
Yeah, I would. If the Rockies didn't end up signing Chris Bryant, I would definitely say, you know, they're definitely going to sell deadline whatever piece they have. But if, depending on how close they actually are, if they're actually like somewhat close to wild card spot, I don't see them trading CJ Cron. If they're really far out of it, they probably will. But who knows with the Rockies anyway? They didn't want to trade Trevor Story last year, so.
Yeah, they wanted to settle for a compensation pick, the complete crapshoot when you could have gotten possibly 2 plus, maybe 3 decent prospects from somebody for Trevor Story. Never really know what the Rockies are going to do over there. But I got one more question for you guys, and I want both of your opinions here. Andrew, based on our prior shows and just when we talk, I already have an idea of what your answer is going to be. But hey, you may surprise me. But as I said, I want both of your opinions here, guys. Danny, I'll start with you. Is there any chance the Padres shock the baseball world and come out on top of this NL West at season's end?
I mean, obviously there's a shot. The Dodgers are really good though. The Dodgers are really good. If the Padres want a chance to do it, they're going to really need some probably some more pitching help. They need Snell to come back and be really strong. Manny Machado looks like a complete MVP candidate in the NL. So I do think there's a chance. But the thing that's keeping me back is if you look at this Dodgers roster, they're an all-star team that's playing in the regular season. So it's going to be tough, but there is a shot.
Yeah, I'd say maybe a small chance, not huge. Like they are very close right now, obviously, but the Dodgers, they'll go through little funks, but I know eventually they're going to just go on that insane run. Like, 2017 when they won, 49 out of 50 something games. It was crazy. Like, I mean, the Padres will be getting Tatis back, which is huge. They just got Snell back, but I'd give it, in my mind, like an 80-85% chance the Dodgers win this division.
I think the Padres will definitely stay competitive throughout the rest of this season, especially with getting Fernando Tatis back. Maybe a little rotation, a little bullpen help could go a long way for this San Diego team. NL West is going to be very interesting. It's going to be very fun to watch. It's going to have 2, maybe even 3 playoff teams and 3 really good teams to watch coming out of it. But that's going to wrap up our NL West segment. Danny, thank you for coming on. Danny's going to stay with us as we hop into a brand new segment we have for the first time ever on the Free Baseball Pod. We will be doing a draft, and this draft is going to be the best players in Major League Baseball at the age of 25 or younger. Danny, myself, and Andrew will be drafting 4 position players and 1 pitcher, and then we will post, you guys obviously will see it in the video, but we'll post a graphic of our 3 teams, and in the comment section on Twitter, comment who you think has the best overall squad. We want to hear your thoughts and opinions, but that will wrap it up for the NL West. Let's get right into this draft.
All right, so we're going to go onto our draft. It's going to be the best players, age 25 and under. We're each going to pick 4 position players, 1 pitcher. It's going to be a snake draft, so order is Danny, me, Will. Will gets 2 picks in a row. Danny, you're up first.
Yeah, so I think the first pick, I would get ostracized if I didn't pick this player, and I'm going to go with Juan Soto. I don't really have to give a ton of reasoning besides he's probably a top 3 baseball player in baseball right now, and he's 23 years old. So that's about all I got for you guys.
Yeah, pretty obvious pick there. Juan Soto, he's like the next Ted Williams, incredible eye, the plate, incredible hitter, probably should have an MVP by now. 2020 got robbed. Almost won it last year. Having a great year this year too. Can't really go wrong there.
That was the number one choice. Juan Soto, one of my favorite players in all baseball. Would have been a fool to go any other direction. I like your description, Andrew. He's like the modern day Ted Williams. That's just how he plays. It's just good all around. His fielding was a question in the beginning of his career, but starting to not really be a question anymore. And the bat has always been there. So Danny, good job right there. Number one overall, Juan Soto.
Mm-hmm. All right, for a second pick, I'm going to go – it's between a couple guys. There's probably three options you could take here, but I'm going to go with Fernando Tatis Jr. But easily best shortstop in the league. Number one issue really is some people may think it's defense, but it's the health. Motorcycle accident kept him out at the start of this year. Obviously dealt with the shoulder issue, labrum issues last year. But when he's on the field, he's to make another comparison, he's the next A-Rod, in my opinion. Just incredible numbers, high nines, low 1,000 OPS, incredible athleticism. He can even play the outfield too. And he's just going to be a top 5, top 10 player for the next 10, 15 years, in my opinion.
Yeah, I like this pick, Andrew. I think it was going to go either one way or the other. I thought you were going to pick the guy that I'm about to pick. Makes my life a lot easier. I think the guy that I am going to pick is slightly better, not too much. It's between Soto, Tatis, who I'm going to say in a minute. But good pick. Tatis, I love him. Very young, exciting shortstop. I like the A-Rod comparison. Needs to stay on the field, stay off the bikes. Win an MVP, maybe 2, maybe 3. We'll just have to see how it goes. Good pick by you, though.
Yeah, I would agree. It's a good pick. I think there are 2 players that I would have picked ahead of him personally. But he's exciting player to watch. Can't really stay healthy and a little bit of a defensive liability. I see him more as a third baseman later in his career, but I think he'd be a good pick.
I do disagree a little bit with the defense. I think he's very young. Dealt with he had a lot of troubles early last year, but when you watch the kid, he has incredible range, and he's too athletic to not be at that. I think he's really young. He's gonna figure it out. I really do think he's gonna be a shortstop for a while.
Well, let's hope.
One can only hope. I think everyone on this list, well, maybe not everyone, but a very good portion of this list, they're all going to have good careers, and especially this guy right here, already off to a great start. Ronald Acuna Jr., that's who I'm going to go with at number 3. Center fielder to start, now in right field. He just came back from an ACL injury. I love the guy. He's a great outfielder. He's got a very good flair to him. He's very raw. I think he's one of the more raw guys on this list. Just very incredible bat speed. He just knows how to play the game, and he knows how to play the game the right way and play the game a fun way. Very fun to watch. Ronald Acuna at number 3 for myself.
Yeah, I love the pick. He's probably who I would have taken at number 2. Great player. He's going to be good for a long time, and as long as he can stay healthy. But fun player to watch, and he's a special talent, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'd have to. Not a bad pick. I definitely went back and forth between Acuna and Tatis. I just do think that Tatis is a little bit more talented hitter. Acuna obviously has the fielding advantage, but you can't really go wrong with that pick.
I have to agree there, Andrew. I think Tatis is the more talented hitter for sure. But the first 3 guys, these are the 3 guys we're going to be talking about for the next 15 to 20 years. Hands down. There's also another guy on this list who I am now going to go with, and that is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. at number 4. We can just add to that list of guys who we are going to be talking about for some time. Guys that just know how to hit the ball and hit the cover off the ball, you could say. Vladdy started as a third baseman. Now he's at first, probably going to turn into more of a designated hitter. Maybe that glove will end up being pretty good over time. Get enough time over there at first base. You never know. But Vladdy is known for the stick, and he will probably always be known for the stick. I'm going to take Vladdy at number 4.
Yeah, that's obviously great pick. I don't think you can really go any way with that fourth pick there, because Vladdy is just an incredibly talented hitter. I was 12 last year. Often the number he put up were crazy. You can argue that guy's a top 3, top 4 most talented hitter in the entire league.
Yeah, I would. He would be the only other player that I would consider at number 2 outside of the 2 that were already picked. Just special at the bat. He's got good genes, obviously, with his dad. He's going to be fun to watch over the next decade. Reminds me a little bit of like a Miguel Cabrera-esque hitter, where he's going to be putting up high average, high home runs, and it's going to be good for a long time.
Like that comparison, Dan. That's a really good one.
Yeah. I think for my next pick, I'm gonna go with a pitcher here. First pitcher off the board. I'm gonna go with Logan Webb. Yeah. Sorry, Danny. Had a great season last year after not even really barely being in the Giants rotation. Like, I think he barely made his 4th, 5th starter. And after whatever it was, once he started getting 6 starts in April, he got like a 2-something ERA, 2.5, something crazy. And then obviously in the playoffs, he was probably the best pitcher in the entire playoffs. So, and he's all the 2,500 pitchers, he's got to be the best one here.
Yeah, I love that pick. He was going next if you didn't take him there. Great player. I've seen what he can do. He's the next of the Giants' great pitchers, in my opinion. They know how to pitch in San Francisco, and they got another good one. I'm really happy with what he's done so far and where he projects to be going in the next 10-ish years.
I love the arsenal that Logan Webb goes out every single day. That slider kind of like reminds me a little bit about Corey Kluber's breaking pitch. Doesn't really put a label on it. It's not a curveball. It's not a slider. It kind of just breaks in either fashion, whether it's a curve or a slider. It just fools guys. Changeup falls off the table. He's got one of the better changeups that I've seen in the game. And then the fastball, it's a sinker. In this game, you need a fastball that's going to run. If you throw that straight fastball, it's got to be over 96, 97 to really, really get guys on their toes. If you don't throw something like that, you need to have another fastball that is going to move in different types of directions. And Logan Webb does that very efficiently. He can use those 3 pitches for as long as he wants to, and people are not going to hit him. That's how much movement that he has on that fastball and that slider, or whatever you want to call it, and the changeup. Great pitcher, really young. I agree, Danny. He's going to be one of the better Giants pitchers for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, so I think my pick next, I got the little wraparound. I think I'm going to take another pitcher off the board, and I'm going to go to my arch nemesis team, and I'm going to take Julio Urias. He's 25 years old and has been pitching since 2016. So if you're going to pick a guy that's 25 or under, he's already proven what he's capable of doing. Great stuff. A little bit of a down year, I guess you would say, for his standards. Another guy that, maybe needs to stay healthy, but great pitcher's got great stuff, and I've seen what he can do against my team.
Yeah, Julio Urias he's been incredible this year with the Dodgers. A great season last year, showing he really came out, 2020, 2019, when he was using the playoffs as a reliever. He's got a great arsenal, great fastball, great slider, great. Definitely a good pick there.
Great pitcher.
Great pitch. Yeah.
I love Urias. He was definitely I've known about him for quite some time now. He's been in the Dodgers system. He's been a guy that's been highly touted, and he's definitely, maybe not definitely, but he's definitely starting to live up to those expectations that were put on him when he was a prospect, won 20 games last year. I believe he was the only pitcher to win 20 games last year in the 2021 season. Definitely a guy that the Dodgers can use in any situation. In 2020, he was used more as a relief pitcher. Last year, he came in and he showed that he can be a very good pitcher in the starting rotation. Excited to see how this young man's career unfolds, and it's gonna be fun to watch. I'm definitely excited for Mr. Urias.
Yeah, so next pick, I'm gonna go with a guy that's not having as good of a year this year as he was last year, but incredibly young. I think he's the youngest player in the big leagues, and that's Wander Franco. I love the way he plays. He's exciting to watch, great defender, good with the bat. And he's going to be a guy that, still got 20 years in him. He's only 21 years old. He's going to be around for a while, and I think he's going to be good. I think he already has an argument to be a top 5 shortstop in the game right now. I'm excited to see what he does throughout his career.
Yeah, obviously Juan Franco is a great player, but I think if we're going off best players right now, I don't know if I would have gone with Franco there. I definitely considered him, but there's definitely a couple guys on this list that I would put over him, that I would pick over this guy right now.
Franco, one of my breakout picks. I really hope he does end up turning it around this year. Not terrible, definitely not the start that I was anticipating, as he completely tore it up last year when he came right out of the gates for Tampa Bay. But this is a guy that is going to be a top 5, maybe a top 3, and dare I say it, maybe the best shortstop in all of baseball. He's going to have some tough competition with Tatis and everyone else that follows. But this is a guy I think that we're going to be talking about for quite some time as the years go by. Switch hitter, can hit to all fields. He can run. He can hit for contact. He can also hit for power. He's got a great glove. Very fun talent. Very good guy to watch. Good pick by you, Dan.
All right, so with my the 8th pick, my next selection, I'll be going with Jordan Alvarez. He's one of the best hitters in baseball. He's having an incredible year this year. Whenever he's been healthy, 2019 is breakout year. 2020 didn't really play at all. Last year and this year, just crazy numbers, 900, upper 900s OPS. Doesn't play the field, but he can slot into the DH position on my team.
Yeah, Jordan Alvarez. I always like this guy. He's got great power numbers. Got 12 home runs this year already. He's batting .256. He's already got 1.4 WAR. A guy 2020 didn't really. He played 2 games, and then we kind of know what happened there. He's just. I the best way to describe Jordan, in my opinion, is I would call him more of like a raw hitter. I think he's just a raw power hitter. He's kind of guy that he's got DH all over him, right? As we know, he's already not the best of fielders. So I could kind of see a little Nelson Cruz comparison just from the left side. Very pure swing, very nice stroke on the left side too. Always great to see. He's going to put up big power numbers. He always has, and he will continue to do so. Good pick, Andrew.
Yeah, great with the bat, like you guys have both said. Not much of a defender, but the money you get out of him swinging from that left side with the power, he's going to be a guy that's if you can hit, they're going to find a spot for you. So he's going to be a guy that's going to be around for a while. I like the comparison to Nelson Cruz. He's a guy that's how old is he now? 42, 43?
Yeah, around there. Yeah, he's up there.
He's up there in age, but if you can hit, they're going to find a spot for you. And I think he's going to be a guy that's going to be around for a while.
Especially with the designated hitter in the National League now, opens up a lot of opportunities for players like Alvarez, as we've seen this year with Nelson Cruz on the National League ball team this year. And he's just doing exactly what Nelson Cruz does. So boomstick, Jordan Alvarez, the mini boomstick. We'll love to see how his career pans out. At number 9, though, I'm going to go with my pitcher here, a guy that I have been following since his college days at West Virginia, and that's Alec Manoa. Blue Jays, I'm a Yankee fan. It's kind of tough. He always shuts down the Yankees, shut down the Yankees in his first ever game. It's always tough. He's a guy that just goes out there and he just balls out. He is a dog. He's a big man as well. He's 6'6", 285. He's 5-1 this year with a 1.62 ERA. I would call that a dark horse AL Cy Young pick at the age of 24. Alec Manoa, he will be my pitcher.
Yeah, this guy, he is crazy. I can honestly see this guy being a top 10 pitcher in the future. His throw is upper 90s. His slider is one of the craziest things. You've seen the highlights on Pitching Ninja. It doesn't make any sense, his movement on a slider. But the one thing I will say is that I'm not sure why you really picked a pitcher now when we both picked pitchers, and you could have waited till the end of the draft.
I have the next pick, Andrew. So the ball is in my court. I wanted to get a pitcher off the board. I love Manoa. He was right there. I could have waited, but decided not to.
Yeah, he's a guy I'm not super familiar with, being an NL or AL East guy, and I'm an NL West guy. But the few starts that I've seen him have, great stuff. Like you mentioned, the slider is unreal.
Great stuff, power arm. He's very lively. He's a big dude, and he's energetic. He's very into the game. Love what he brings to the table. Only has 3 MLB losses as well. I found that very interesting. I found that out today, actually. And I can't wait to see what the rest of this guy's future holds. And now at number 10, I am going to go with his teammate, Bo Bichette. Had him in my top 5 for shortstops coming in to the 2022 season. Definitely a guy I can see being up there with the Wander Francos and the Fernando Tatis as we go maybe 5-6 years down the line in the top conversation at the shortstop position.
Yeah, definitely good pick there, Will. One of the best shortstops in the league, very athletic, pretty solid hitter. Will probably give you around 800, 850 OPS per year. So when you look at the guys left on this list, might be 1 or 2 guys that probably pick over him, but can't go wrong with Bo.
Yeah, I mean, Bo, he's fun to watch. Very exciting player. He fits very well in that Blue Jays lineup with Vlad, and Kevin Biggio's been struggling a little bit this year, but it makes sense. I like the pick. Great player, very fun to watch.
All right. So for my next pick, I'm gonna go with third baseman from the Atlanta Braves, Austin Riley. He was top prospect for a while. Had that big breakout season last year. One of the better hitters in baseball. Pretty solid defender there. So that's my next pick.
Austin Riley. Definitely would have picked somebody else over him at his own position, but no knock on him at all. Definitely a breakout season last year. He was showing that potential that was given to him as a top prospect, kind of like what I was saying with Julio Urias. Austin Riley showed that he was a big factor into that World Series championship team, Atlanta Braves last year. I think this is a solid pick, but like I said, I would have picked somebody else, maybe another guy over him. Austin Riley, great hitter, got a cannon for an arm over there at third base too. Another guy, really am excited to see how he pans out in Atlanta.
Yeah, I completely agree. You can't really go wrong with anyone on this list. He's fun to watch, big bat, big arm, and fits well with the Braves. He was a big reason why they won the World Series last year, so I like the pick. But now my pick, and I think I'm going to go – I got my last 2. I think I'm going to go with his teammate, and I'm going to take Ozzie Albies. Great second baseman, very fun switch hitter. I like the way he plays the game. He's a scrappy kind of guy, and I think he would fit well on this team I'm building right now.
Pair him up with Wander Franco up the middle. 2 switch hitting middle infielders. I like the thought process there, Danny. I am a big Ozzie Albies guy. Always liked him. He's another guy that was just working his way up in the system with the Braves, and they finally put it all together. It was a team that they built this team around their farm system, and it all ended up coming together. Austin Riley, Ozzie Albies coming up together. I like Albies. He was an all-star last year, switch hitter, pretty good with the glove too. Love the chemistry that he has with Ronald Acuna Jr. Makes watching the Braves a lot of fun. Another guy going to have a very good career over in Atlanta.
Yeah, I do like Ozzie Albies. Obviously, great second baseman, one of the better ones in the league. But yeah, great power bat. As you said, Will, great with the glove. But looking at this list, there's definitely at least 2 guys I would have rather had with that pick.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, last pick. I'm debating between a few guys here, but I think I'm gonna go with the young guy, and I'm gonna take Brian Hayes. Great third baseman for the Pirates. He's gonna be a big piece of this rebuild. having a decent year, struggling a little bit with the power, but batting right around 300. Just got a new contract. He's going to be in Pittsburgh for a while, and I think he's going to be a very good player down the road.
Yeah, to keep Brian Hayes, really good third baseman, very, very solid hitter. I don't really, if I'm being honest, I think there's at least 3 or 4 players here I'd probably take over him. So, not a huge.
Fair enough.
Yeah, me too here. I would probably pick some guys over Brian Hayes, but I think he's going to have a very solid career. Could be a very good piece to build with in Pittsburgh with Brian Reynolds and other guys that are coming up through their system.
All right, so I have my last pick. So I'm gonna go with Kyle Tucker, my final pick.
Stole that from me.
Need another outfielder here. Could have went with the other third baseman, which I think you might pick with your next pick. As you're referring to, Kyle Tucker, great defender, Gold Glove defender out there, and right or left, wherever he wants to play. And then obviously one of the better outfielding hitters, as we've seen from his 2021 season, which was amazing.
I like Tucker. I think he's going to be very good. Another great left-handed bat the Houston Astros have, and they're going to have for a while. The Aaron Judge comparisons really need to calm down. He's not as good as Aaron Judge. He's just not there. But he is a very good baseball player, and he will be very good for quite some time. Kyle Tucker, I like that. That's a very good pick to have at the bottom of this draft.
Yeah, I would agree. He's having a bit of a down year this year compared to last year, but, Gold Glove defender. We've seen his capability at the plate. I think he's going to be good for a long time, and he's a good pick, good value pick late in this draft.
Very good value pick indeed. Now, my last pick and the last pick of this entire draft, it's down to 2 guys, and I think I'm just going to narrow it down to one right now, and that is going to be Rafael Devers, third baseman for the Boston Red Sox. I was debating on taking Luis Robert of the Chicago White Sox, but I'm going to settle with Rafael Devers, another very good, powerful left-handed stick. This one in Boston, like what he brings to the table, brings a lot of power, brings a lot of contact. Defense, I think it can be improved. It's not horrible, but it can definitely be improved. The highlight here is the offense, and I think this is a guy that you could see having multiple 35 home run year, 35 plus home run years, maybe even squeeze out a 40 home run plus home run year. We'll have to wait and see. Very good baseball player indeed. Very young, obviously, 25 and under in this draft. So Rafael Devers, he will round out our 25 and under draft.
Yeah, well, I love this pick. He was definitely the next guy that I was going to take out of all these guys. A lot of good options left here. Jazz Chisholm, Luis Robert, Alec Boehm, Trent Grisham, Eloy Jimenez. But of all the options, Rafael Devers he's pretty good. He started off a very bad defender initially when he entered the league, but he's a really good defender now. Obviously, very consistent, amazing power bat. Gets on base a lot. Great pick there.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Devers. My biggest thing with skipping over Devers was I just think Brian Hayes is a better defender. And if you've ever heard me talk on anything else, I'm a big defense guy, and you can see that in kind of my picks outside of Juan Soto. But it's a great pick, great offensive player, and he's gonna stick around just because he can hit for a while.
Well, as they say, defense wins championships, and we want to see who won this draft in our Twitter thread section. We'll post it in a little bit as this episode comes up, but that's going to wrap it up. Danny, we can't thank you enough for coming on for this edition of the Free Baseball Pod. We're going to wrap up our show in just a moment, but Danny, thanks again. Any final words for the viewers?
Yeah, let's go Giants. Thanks for having me on. It was a blast to be on. Anytime you guys ever want me back on, I'll gladly come back. I enjoyed my time. Fun draft, and like I said, go Giants.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dan. Andrew and I are going to wrap it up here in episode 7. So a lot that was unpacked here on this episode in the Free Baseball Pod. We ran through Tommy Pham and Joc Pederson's altercation. We talked about Josh Donaldson and Tim Anderson's little controversy. The Pirates, a 1-0 win after being no-hit by the Cincinnati Reds on May 15th. The Yankees, still the best team in baseball. They've been the best team in baseball pretty much the entire season. Hopefully that continues as Yankee fans here, me and Andrew. We talked about Albert Pujols' pitching debut. That was fun to watch. The second player ever to hit 600 or more home runs and pitch in their careers. We also unpacked the wild NL West and everything that's going on out there. Great division, probably one of the tougher ones so far this season. And then me, Danny, and Andrew, we had a lot of fun drafting that team. Let us know in the comments and on Twitter who had the best team out of us three, the best 5-man roster. And that's going to get us to our trivia question for this week before we wrap up this episode. Andrew, we have a new type of trivia. We've stayed more analytical and more statistical over the last 6 episodes, but what trivia question do you have for the viewers this week?
Our trivia question for this week is, why are the Mets colored blue and orange? Make sure to leave a comment on YouTube, reply to Twitter, leave a comment on Instagram, TikTok, wherever, if you know the answer. First one to answer gets right answer, gets a shout out next episode.
Said first one to answer correctly gets a shout out. I like this question. It's a little more on the trivia side. It's a question that you really have to know a little bit about baseball, except for just looking at the numbers. It's a good question. I love the answer to this question. It has a lot to do with the city that I grew up being in the shadow of. Same with you, Andrew, New York City, not being too far from where we are. And it's a big part of the history of the city. Lots of good baseball on both sides of New York, as the Mets also one of the best teams, if not the best team in the National League. Maybe Subway Series, who knows? That would be fun. But that's going to wrap it up. Oh, you got something? You got something else, Andrew?
I said possibly. Hopefully.
That would be fun, because we weren't born yet when 2000 was here. That was wish we could see that, but we'll hopefully get to see it with our teams, with this New York Yankees team, which is our team, and then all the Mets fans that we know with their boys over there. That'd be a lot of fun. Subway Series coming up in July. But that's going to do it. That is going to do it for the 7th episode on the Free Baseball Pod. For Andrew Mendez, I'm Will Talent, and we will see you guys in the next one.